Trump is brash, orange, larger than life. Trump is fantastic for cartoonists. He's got his colour, he's got his tie, his very long ties. For a cartoonist, it was exciting having Trump back because he is always there with stories. The drawing almost does itself. He almost fills the page, like physically when you draw him. Hello, I'm Morten Morland. I am the cartoonist for The Times and Sunday Times. And here are some of my Donald Trump cartoons.
It is now official. CNN projects that Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris and making a political comeback unlike any.
This was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time.
When Trump was re-elected, he came back with seemingly much greater power than the first time around, where he had control over the House of Representatives, justices, the Supreme Court. America turned into sort of his kingdom. He was king of America now.
Lots of startling comments from President Trump yesterday. He called himself a king.
Posting "Long live the king," the White House then posting this illustration resembling a Time magazine cover with the president actually wearing a crown.
I wanted to kind of sum up his return and what did he look like now. And so I focused on this king of America, or this emperor, who sits there on his throne. With all the sort of regalia, all the bits of a king. He's got his sword, he's got his orb, which is the seal, and various other things which sort of symbolizes his power. To make him king-like, but also focus on his enormous, his size, but then also picking up on those kind of physical traits of Trump with the tiny hands and his orange face with the sort of inverted panda, with his sort of lightness around his eyes and his mouth. So he's got this ridiculousness about him. To get that contrast between his great power with his sort of physical silliness. He's got his red tie just sort of slung everywhere, so long. The MAGA cap is in there, part of his uniform. Got his X, which now is a feature of his presidency, is the sort of Musk's X. He's got this sort of totalitarian thing about him. So I sort of drew him with this massive man spread on his throne. Here I am. This is mine. The cartoon was about summing up Trump at this point, at the start of his reign. He's won all this.
Out of that remarkable scene at the White House just a short time ago, Elon Musk standing in the Oval Office, President Trump sitting behind the Resolute desk, and it was Elon Musk who held court.
Moments ago, the president and Elon Musk were in the Oval Office answering questions. Let's listen.
X, are you okay? This is X.
One of the peculiar things about Trump 2.0 is that he's back. He's got this kind of dual presidency with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is always there, it seems, in the background or foreground. On February 11th, 2025, Musk was coming into the Oval Office for a press conference about Department of Government Efficiency, which is kind of his baby. And they were both there. Trump sat behind the desk and Musk stood beside him, but he also brought his kid along. Weirdly, I got the idea for Take Your Child to Work Day. Instead of drawing Musk's kid, I drew him as the kid. Musk is this sort of enormous man baby. He is this kind of excitable kid, also enormously powerful and rich. I'm sort of showing Trump as the lesser, the sort of little one on Musk's shoulder. Musk is taking charge of all that, doing the presidenting.
By the way, Elon Musk gave his total endorsement. Elon, he gave me the greatest, most beautiful. He said, we're not going to have a country left if Trump doesn't.
He seems always very proud of the relationship with Musk and what he's doing. So he's kind of going, isn't he adorable? They're talking to the readers, but also you see through the camera of the press pack, and they're all going like, really isn't. It's quite... I haven't drawn him much. It's a strange thing to sort of study someone's face for the first time. So he has the potential of a really fun cartoon character.
Tonight, the jaw-dropping Oval Office clash between President Trump and President Zelensky.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards.
I was going to do a cartoon about this press conference and a meeting between Zelensky and Trump. And I had some ideas in my head, but then the actual event happened and it just completely fell apart. It was one of those absolutely jaw-dropping moments. There you have sort of Zelensky coming there supposedly to sign this mineral deal. He is a respected war leader who's come to get this sort of help. They were going to get the relationship back on track after Trump has been pulling resources from the war effort. We thought everything was going to get back on track. And then instead, you got this situation where Trump, and particularly J.D. Vance, telling Zelensky off. So saying he wasn't grateful enough.
Should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
It was so demeaning the way they treated Zelensky. For me, was just like, it showed how small the American president and the vice president are. Like, this sort of like morally small and intellectually small. And so they sort of physically they became small. I mean, it's sort of strange because I always like drew Trump so big as this enormous presence, but all of a sudden in that moment he became small in my eyes, and that became the entire idea, and then made Zelensky sort of bigger in comparison, morally bigger. So the contrast between them is sort of turned on his head. J.D. Vance becomes the character talking. Trump is sat there sort of moping because he's not been given enough respect, and then J.D. Vance is sort of lemming-like. He's this little sort of squeaky little thing on the sofa. When I started making him small, he just sort of like turned into that. He also gets quite sort of little hands and little feet. It was so awful, so pathetic. It is quite interesting how in such a short space of time, Trump has gone from being this enormous emperor king thing in my cartoons. He's gone from that to becoming much smaller. I mean, in this cartoon, he's tiny. He's become diminished in my eyes from that incident. He's much smaller in my head now. And I think that will show in the cartoons and in the cartoons sort of to come as well, where we sort of follow his great rise to enormous power. And then I think sort of by the end of the 4 years, maybe we'll see a very, very different, frailer Trump, who's much reduced.
What would Trump say if he met you?
What would Trump say? He would probably say, I'm a failing cartoonist working for a failing newspaper in a failing industry in a failing country. Yeah, I reckon he would rant something like that.